Slate V presents your guide to the worst cinematic crap that's ever been made.
Hi, welcome to another edition of the worst cinematic crap that's ever been made. And hey, it's summer, and with summer comes beach going. Ah, the beach. Perfect place to unwind. And in the late 50s and early 60s, beach movies became a national craze. And these movies had everything from monsters to surfers to teenagers doing the Watusi. Of course, things are a little bit different nowadays at the beach. Now we watch medical waste wash ashore as opposed to mutated sea monsters. And I'll tell you another thing, not once in any of these beach movies do you ever hear anyone say, don't forget to put on your sunscreen. But listen, just sit back, relax, unwind, feel the global warming, and get ready to watch some of the worst beach movies that have ever been made.
The first beach movie we're going to dive into is from 1964. This is a fun, weird little film called The Horror of Party Beach.
For this expedition.
Wow, look at these kids dancing. And there's some 1964 cheesecake.
Hey, that reminds me. Did I bring my hot dog buns?
Woohoo! That's some witty Algonquin table dialogue there, folks.
Oh, everybody do the zombie stomp.
Folks, look at this little number. Zombie stomp. I don't think this dance craze swept the nation. Ah, they're having fun. Too bad a monster's gonna come. A killer monster. And folks, you know, the true charm of this movie is the so-called mutated sea creature. Apparently, he's just left a competitive eating contest. He has about 8 to 9 turkey franks stuffed in his mouth. So I guess also the message of the movie is the ocean is dangerous. And, you know, because Horror at Party Beach made money, they just quickly started churning out more and more of these. Beach Girls and the Monster is a lot of fun. Came out the same year, 1964, very quickly made, as you'll see from the monster costume. And by the way, see the girls dancing on the beach? These girls were the actual dancers at the infamous Whiskey A Go-Go. So that's a nice little side note. Same thing, beach, dancing, kids having fun, monsters coming.
I tell you, Sheriff, something's got to be done about them. The boys are nothing but a bunch of loafers, and the girls are little tramps.
There you go, folks. John McCain's true feelings on the youth of today. And, of course, also going on at the same time without the monsters, but with just as much insanity and craziness, was the Frankie and Annette beach movies. And here's a little taste of Beach Blanket Bingo, which was considered one of the most successful of them all.
Take a blanket made for two now.
And a boy and a girl.
That's a game for me and you now. Yeah, let's give it a whirl.
You know, these movies, what's great about them is they had everybody in it. I mean, there's Paul Lynde, and by the way, that's a very young Linda Evans, pre-Dynasty, pre-everything. And Don Rickles is in this movie, and the legendary silent film comic Buster Keaton is in there. And you gotta love this, folks. Let's not go to the beach today. We'll just put up this backdrop projection.
Is there a sky? Are there dreams?
How about that? Kind of turned into Ralph Waldo Emerson there at the end. And aside from campy monsters in some of these beach movies, we have a real little chestnut here from 1980, one of the true horror films of this genre. It's Blood Beach. Now, this movie is really something. What's interesting about it is, I guess, after Jaws, they've kind of figured, well, everything's been done in the water. Well, forget the water. What if the beach itself is killing people, huh? Anyway, they finally find what's doing it, and it's a mutated creature living in a condemned basement. And then when you finally see this thing, look, there it is. Wow, it's an artichoke. It really looks like Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors. They should have had a meeting. And speaking of having a meeting, the beach movies started to really fade out. And in the mid-'80s, they tried to make some sex comedies at the beaches, because Porky's was so big, and so there were all these teen sex comedies. And from 1982 is The Beach Girls. Oh boy, look at that. Yeah, if you're living in Nebraska and you're freezing your butt off, this has to look like paradise to you. A girl gets to have her uncle's house in Malibu for the summer. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, I don't know.
Ginger, I'm not sure this is such a good idea.
One little interesting side note here. The actor who played one of the great villains in Animal House Greg Marmalard is in this movie. Look at him. There you go. Actor James Doughton. And folks, here's just an example of like the witty Katharine Hepburn, Spencer Tracy dialogue in this movie.
Is that a salami in your pocket, or are you just glad to see me?
It's a salami.
Beach Fever from 1987. Folks, look at this beginning. I don't know what's more offensive, the women being forced to bend over like that, or the 80s drum machine. You gotta love this little piece of trivia. This movie stars Kato Kaelin. Yes, that's right, America's favorite house guest. The basic so-called plot to this is a Asian kid who has money comes to America to try and figure out what is the greatest pickup line in the world. He meets little beach bum Kato, and then, wouldn't you know it, one of their friends is a nerdy scientist who has invented a potion that makes them irresistible to all women.
My father always say, put honey on flour and be go right to it. Exactly.
You know, unfortunately, because of the big success of that character in 16 Candles, the hit John Hughes film from 1984, Long Duck Dong, these cheaper movies would just carbon copy out the funny Asian nerd. So here you go. And they named him Saki. The character in this movie, they actually named him Saki. Yeah, this movie really has everything. Evil scientists, pop music, bimbos, surfers, geeks, gangsters, and investigative journalism. Folks, you are watching the beach movie being disemboweled in front of your very eyes.
Wow, can you believe that? Kind of makes you want to head for the hills, not the beach. Or just eat a lot of heavy food and head right into the ocean at high tide. But we hope you enjoyed it. I'm Mark Jordan Legan, and join us again for another edition of The Worst Cinematic Crap That's Ever Been Made.